there, welcome to On the Beat, the podcast that uncovers full frontal male nudity in cinema. My name is Laura, and I'm joined by my co-host, Ryan.
What'd you say, bitch? Oh, sorry.
I can tell you a story about why me and my husband fell out.
Yes, hello there.
Oh, hello there.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is off the rails. Just like this Twitter feed. We're going to talk about the 2020 dark comedy crime film ZOLA.
Yeah.
Yay.
It's a goodie. It's not a greatie, but it's a goodie.
I liked it even more when I watched it last night.
Yeah, this is the first time I'd seen it, just going to preface that. So there might be that kind of Ryan's first watching bias that he usually has whenever he watches anything for the first time. So
what is that?
It's
exactly?
usually like things that are usually very good. I'm just like, it's kind of meh for me. But then when I on a repeat viewing, I'm like, yeah, no, that's really, really good. Like I say, I keep on bringing up Old Boy. Old Boy is like the best example of me being like, well, that was all right, wasn't it? That was kind of messed up, but then it turned into one of my favorite movies of all time. So
I love Josh Brolin, so love him.
Yeah, that Spike Lee joint was something real
so
special.
Good.
Yeah, that was great.
Speaking of great, this film stars Taylor Page as Zola, Riley Keough as Stephanie, Nicholas Braun as Derek, and Coleman Domingo as X. And
X, yeah. Well,
yeah.
his name's never really uttered. You just know he's the. Is it?
Because he makes Derek say it. And I don't know if I'm going to do it justice and pronounce it properly, so I'm going to leave it.
Yeah, probably.
Leave it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Succession hadn't come out yet, I think, when I saw this for the first time, or if it had, I hadn't watched it, so I was watching it last night and I go, oh my gosh, Cousin Greg.
It would have been a fledgling show by this time, or at least if anything, we can double check. It might have only been one season in.
Yeah, but I only watched Succession.
Succession's only
last year.
3 seasons, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that makes sense with it being on a year-to-year basis. That it probably would have only have started in 2020. But yeah.
Oh my gosh, 2018.
Oh, okay. Well, we were well off. Yes.
I came to it late.
Yeah. Yeah, he's very good in this. But it's kind of like you're looking at it with the hindsight of 2020 of like how he behaves in the Succession show. So
everyone hits it out of the park. Coleman Domingo is amazing, but he's always amazing.
He's incredibly scary.
I know. I kept thinking he's meant to be very scary, but I think he's just a cutie pie. So I wasn't,
like he's a nice pimp.
Well, no, he's not.
No,
he's horrible.
He's not a nice pimp.
I mean,
is there a nice pimp other than like Huggy Bear from Starsky and Hutch? Because he's like a nice pimp.
I'm sure he's not the worst.
He's probably not the worst. He's probably like his staple of hoes are probably quite comfortable. He's
undervaluing that pussy quite a bit.
Yeah.
This is where Zola comes in to save the day.
She does. She comes in and she
Pussy's
saves
worth
the day.
Thousands.
Yeah. It's like she's like, you could do it on the pole for $150. You don't have to sell it for that low.
That's right.
Yeah.
Get your money.
Yeah. These ladies definitely know how to make some bank. Like they really do know how to make some bank.
Yeah.
Like some serious bank. But unfortunately it is doing things like, not to put, like strippings. I think I have one good stripping story.
I was there that night and you did a wonderful job on this stage. I was blown away. I was throwing so many dollar bills at you.
Well, there was a girl I used to know who was like a friend of a friend, and she did it so that she could pave the way for her to emigrate to Australia, which she did.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah. So I think there are some nice stories about it, but like obviously it's like it's on the fringes of like slightly darker aspects of like the adult industry as well. So it's kind of you kind of know what to expect with it a little bit.
As we'll get into it, we'll talk about Janixa Bravo first, but even Isaiah King, who wrote the original Twitter thread.
That Twitter thread is something to behold.
It's so great. I read it
hilarious.
when she wrote it originally, and I was enthralled. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It is amazing still. But she said when she was in school, like 9th grade or something, they were kind of going around like, what do you want to do? What do you want your job to, what do you want to be when you grow up? And she goes, I think I'm going to try stripping just for a little bit because it seems like fun. And everyone was flabbergasted.
It's a young person's game. It's a young lady's game. Like it's something like I don't think it's not a viable career path. But if you need to make some money and you're good at it, that's a way to go. And also
you could do at least 10 years of it if you wanted to.
You could make a career of it. But there's a few, I don't know where did we watch them, but there's like a slew of stripper documentaries, because if you're going to strip, it's kind of like doing audiovisual. You go to Vegas, right? Because Vegas is the place where you can make some serious fucking bank.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where you find yourself in the more elite clubs and stuff. But yeah, we've seen a few of those. I don't know why we watched them. I just put them on for curiosity's sake. But yeah, those stripper documentaries.
It was like stripping through COVID and stuff.
Yeah,
right?
And that was super fucking interesting. It's kind of like how porn stars kind of latched on to OnlyFans during COVID. And that's kind of where they made a lot of serious money during the pandemic years. But yeah, that stuff was just super. I just find that stuff to be super interesting. And for the most part, I think like you can say that like stripping and kind of on the fringes of like the adult industry, and I guess like the mainstream acceptance of the adult industries now, or at least like I guess like sex work.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of more accepting it is. I guess there's just a level of openness to it now where it feels like at least there's a viable path there, even though there are certainly kind of darker edges to it. And I think certainly ZOLA does have an incredibly dark edge to it. I think that definitely like it illustrates quite succinctly.
Why don't I throw the synopsis and I'll give you the tagline and then you can tell us about Bravo.
Yes, because we'll need some help with her name pronunciation, because she has
like Janixa.
Is Janixa? Okay, that's fine. Because I was like, I'm gonna brutalize this name, because she's got four names, a main name and then a couple of middle names. Or no, she has like a kind of triple barrel thing going on.
Oh, cool. I just have Janixa Bravo. But so the synopsis I pulled from Letterboxd is: a waitress agrees to accompany an exotic dancer, her put-upon boyfriend, and her mysterious and domineering roommate on a road trip to Florida to seek their fortune at a high-end strip club. And the tagline is, as you can imagine, y'all want to hear a story? So
yeah, I mean it's pretty much that, and I think the thing that makes it more interesting is the fact that it's based on a true story.
Yeah,
like it's all for the most part completely true, and I guess it's kind of like you do find with true stories in general, it's kind of like antibacterial wash. Like it's only 99.9% effective. So like with these true stories, obviously you have to embellish them a little bit in order to make them a little bit more interesting for a film going audience.
Why not?
So let's talk about Janixa. Or Janixa?
Janixa. I thought it was.
I
looks like
fucked
Janixa
up
to
already.
me.
Yeah. Janixa. So it's Janixa Michelle Bravo Ford. That's her full name that I found. But
nice.
she, her effectively her credit name is Janixa Bravo. So she's an American film director, producer, and screenwriter. I would also say she's also dabbled in some acting as well. Mm-hmm. So she was married to Brett Gelman. Now this is kind of how like kind of sparse and kind of slight her bio is in terms of the stuff that we found online. Brett Gelman was in Fleabag, Love, like Stranger Things. You know that big
Everyone
tall...
knows Brett. Like, well,
Yeah.
I'm not saying everyone knows who Brett Gelman is, but if you look up Brett Gelman, you know who Brett Gelman is.
Yeah, they were married at one point. I don't know why I needed to bring that up, but it was. I felt
I also
like it was
wrote
notable.
it down, but it's funny that that's the first thing you said about her.
Pretty much because there's not
She's
an
not
awful
gonna
lot.
like that.
No, she's not. I'm really sorry.
Because they're divorced.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said used to. But you know, in terms of her films and stuff like that, Zola is the only credited feature that she has. The only other film of note that really kind of goes around is Gregory Go Boom from 2013, but that's a short.
Did she not direct Lemon? I thought she directed Lemon, which Brett Gelman is in.
Yeah, but isn't that a TV show?
No, it's a movie. I watched it. I did not like it.
Okay.
Yeah, well, she directed Here, look. I know this is a...
Oh,
this movie.
Okay. Well, I must have overlooked that for whatever reason, unfortunately. Well, other than that, she has like a notable collection of shorts dating back from like 2011 to present day, but there's also quite a lot of TV that she's done, and also she's done a little bit of acting for TV. And Zola comes out in 2020. I can't remember when Lemon came out. Was Lemon before
was
Zola?
2017.
Yeah, so that's effectively probably her feature film debut is Lemon. Because like I said, there's not an absolute ton of stuff that she's done, but for the purposes of this, Zola's definitely a pretty good follow up to Lemon, I think.
She did a short called House Comes with a Bird that I watched, and it has Pedro Pascal in it.
Oh, okay. She's active.
It's fun.
Yeah, she's active. She's making stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I did her biography a little bit of a disservice, but yeah, but then like, you know, it's not like I'm expecting these you know, I guess like quasi celebrities, like these members of the film industry to disclose every single personal detail about their careers online so that we can talk about it on a podcast. Certainly for me to like butcher her filmography to the point where I forget one of the movies that she directed as well. But it's unfortunate. But yes, anyway, I'm sorry. And I also butchered her name. Like, I mean, I just guess that's just the way it goes with me when it comes on this podcast.
I do it too. It's okay.
70 episodes in, and it's like, yeah,
it's
Ryan still doesn't know how to say certain things. But anyway.
I have so much information before we even talk about the film. I have like so much stuff I wrote.
I mean, the thing is like the info is what makes these episodes quite interesting.
Oh, well, good.
Because
I'm glad my research.
Well, people can just go watch the film. You know what I mean?
I hope that they do.
Yeah, I hope they do as well.
Because as of the recording of this, it's on Tubi, which I love Tubi.
Which is completely free, the Wild West of streaming.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Tubi's one of my favorite streaming services, and it's free.
You can see everything on there. Like I said,
really
I think I've already pointed out that you can see that Donald Trump versus China movie where he comes back as like an alien clone.
Jeez.
Even though he never technically left. So
our last couple movies, I think, are on there. Maybe not Naked, but
not Naked, I don't think. But
Wetlands is on there.
Wetlands is definitely on there. But like I say, it's the Wild West of streaming. If you're ever, like you don't need Netflix. What are you doing getting Netflix?
Ew,
just get Tubi.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You don't even have to get it. You just, okay. Anyway, so the film is based, like the film's based on a Rolling Stone article, but obviously the Rolling Stone article is based on the original 148 Twitter thread.
Yeah.
So the book or the article was written by David Kushner. It was called Zola Tells All, the Real Story Behind the Greatest Stripper Saga Ever Tweeted by Isaiah Zola King. So she wrote those tweets in October of 2015. She was 19 at the time. She was working at Hooters, and, you know, she just wrote this thread about meeting a stripper named Jessica. And, you know, the story had like prostitution, murder, attempted suicide. It got super popular online. Like, for example, Ava DuVernay tweeted, "There's so much untapped talent in the hood." which I love because Zola replied, "I'm not from the hood though, Ava. I'm a suburban bitch. Still love you though."
Oh, good for her.
Yeah.
Fucking,
she's like, "I'm not from the hood. Like,
yeah, well done for
we're not
fucking,
all from the hood. Like,
yeah,
calm down."
Your classist identity, like nonsense. Yeah,
But apparently,
well done.
she'd posted and removed the story twice before because it wasn't getting the traction she wanted.
Okay.
So then she started making it like funnier and a little bit more like darkly funny while preserving like what happened.
Okay. So you trying to tell me that, like, the thing is like, and what I think is most interesting about it is that she's live tweeting as it's happening.
I know. So I read that and I thought that was confusing.
Yeah, a little bit.
So, I mean, that's what she said.
Okay.
So I'm not sure exactly how that went down.
Totally up to her. Like, I mean, I guess in the moment, unless you're an incredibly talented scribe, with some of the things that happen, at least as they're depicted in the movie, you might not be as eloquent as you want to be.
Yeah.
And certainly this is Gen Z as fuck, like big time. Like there is certainly aspects of the movie that I would even say and make me sound like a grandpa. That like I'm like, what does that mean? Like, what is she saying that for? You know, so it does feel very much like a generational, like it's settled in a generational bubble that's like seeded within a very particular kind of subculture of with the youth, like the young people, I guess.
So about a month after the thread went, I hate saying the word viral. David Kushner from Rolling Stone, that's when he published the article. He interviewed people involved in the story. The article noted some inconsistencies in the stories, but King admitted to like embellishing some of the more sensational details, but most of the people involved admitted to the general gist of the story. So,
okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I think the film does a very good job of putting it together, doing it in a very stylistic and quite vibrant way.
Yeah.
And it basically wraps it all up in about 80-something minutes.
Chef's kiss.
I will say, though, that even at 86, there are parts of it that feel a little slow. So, like, it's almost as if, like, the original pacing of the movie, it feels a little bit inconsistent.
Well, it's really fast.
It's
very,
very, very
beginning.
fast,
Like,
yeah.
when you get to the scene, you know, like 30 minutes in, when you get to, like, the Dick scene, you're like, whoa, like, we're already here. This is insane.
There's a lot of, yeah, and that's kind of more, yeah, we'll get into that when we get to it. But the thing is that there's very quite vibrant stylistic flourishes in it that I don't think feel consistent from beginning to end, and I feel like that's more down to like personal preference, because I like how it opens, I like how it starts. Obviously A24 does tend to have films that kind of feel like, yeah, they have a particular flavor, I guess is probably the way that I would take, and you can take that as a positive and negative.
Like a Florida flavor?
I do like it when they get to Florida, because you're just like, holy fuck, we're in Tampa. And we've been to Tampa, and it's a rough experience going to Tampa.
Yes.
That was where we had that time where we witnessed an argument happening in the street, and a guy pulled a gun on his girlfriend.
I know. We're listening to like CCR, and we had just bought a bunch of movies from Viper Video in Tampa, and then a guy pulled his gun out on somebody in the street, and
the
it was
window,
like 3 p.m.
The window was down, bright daylight. Window was down, and you're like, the sat nav is telling me to go like towards them, and I said, just turn right, just turn right. We don't need to follow them. We can go somewhere else. Yeah, it was wild.
It was a really fun time in Tampa. I had a great time.
We did, yeah. That was good time. So really, it does stay true to form with that thing. And I mean, to say that, like, you know, oh my God, it's Tampa. Like, Florida in general is just, because we live here, it's so fascinating. It's so interesting. So many weird, quirky things going on in Florida and for what it's known for. So
I think it's funny that A24 keeps coming back. Like, they love Florida. Florida Project. Yeah. Didn't they do Florida Project?
Maybe.
Spring Breakers.
Yeah, maybe.
Florida.
I don't tend to keep up with like the branding of it, because I feel like the A24 just as a brand, I feel like becomes someone who's interested in films, their identity.
It didn't used to be that way. Like at the time when this came out,
because
they're
under the
trying
skin,
new things
Under the Skin is an A24 film.
Yeah,
and you wouldn't think of it as an A24 film. It's just a film that they released.
Because I think that's what happened. Like around 2020, pre-2020, you just have sprinkles of different interesting types of films.
Yeah.
And now it has like a style that it didn't used to have.
Yeah,
that's okay.
It's the counterculture, like the juxtaposition to, you've got your A24 people, but then it's kind of almost like you've also got like your film bros who've like stolen certain things because of what certain films say to them. And I kind of feel like it's very similar.
I think it's widening out a bit too. Like you're getting more different companies that are putting out interesting work. Neon is one, for example.
Neon is the good alternative, I feel like, to A24. If you feel like A24 has like dirtied your opinion of like, because other people are just so vehement about it. That's my only kind of thing with it, is that it's like knowingly, it's like people are knowingly pretentious about the whole thing, when really I don't think even A24 think it's that. They just want to put out quality films.
Okay, I have more stuff.
Carry on.
So originally, back in 2016, James Franco and his company bought the rights to the Twitter feed.
Makes sense. That's something he would do.
James Franco was involved. James Franco was originally set to direct, but around 2018, it was put on the shelf because allegations of sexual misconduct. We haven't seen a lot of James Franco lately.
No, we haven't really.
Because he's got creep vibes, which, I mean, come on.
Gone are the days of Pineapple Express.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I thought hurricane season was over. Yeah.
So in June of 2018, Janixa Bravo was attached to direct.
Yeah.
With A24 as the distributor.
Yep.
So originally, Taylor Page passed on the film because when James Franco was attached, because she said it was originally just two white men trying to have a black voice. The writing felt very sexist and racist. I didn't jive with the tweets. It didn't jive with the tweets that I'd read.
Yeah.
So when, it switched hands into like the very capable hands of Bravo, things obviously turned around.
There are some incredible black cinema stylings, and it has such a black voice interwoven into it that I think it's a real staple of at least modern black cinema. I think it's an incredibly well put together piece of cinema of that movement. And I think it really benefits from having that level of styling to it.
Yeah.
Because you can look at this, and I think that's one of the key signaling features of black cinema, is just a real sense of individualism and style. And I think that there's some nice little flourishes in this film that I think really kind of characterize it as part of that movement. So, yeah, I'd hate to see a film version that Franco and that made.
So there were some films that Bravo had the cast and crew watch just to kind of get into the vibe. Coffee was one of them.
Fuck yeah, that movie's great.
Right?
Pam Grier, that's awesome, that movie.
And then, some stripper movies. So like Natural Born Killers, Showgirls, Killing of a Chinese Bookie, Paris is Burning, and then also The Wiz and The Wizard of Oz were references more for Bravo. And she had Taylor Page's main costume kind of pay homage to like Dorothy.
Oh, okay. That's
with that,
cool.
It's not plaid, but whatever. The blue, like two-piece that she was wearing.
The blue two-piece, yeah. I've not seen The Wiz in a very long time.
Yeah.
It's probably more interesting than The Wizard of Oz, but I do like The Wizard of Oz still to this day.
The film was shot on 16 millimeter.
That's plain to see. That's already, that was already in my notes.
Yeah. And production lasted for 27 days.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting because Taylor Page actually worked as a stripper for a month. And she said it proved both beneficial as a research project and a source of income.
Yeah.
She was like, I actually really needed the money. I was like, fuck it. Why don't I just go in undercover and see what it's like? It turned out to be much more of an emotionally shaping experience than she had anticipated. She said, I just wanted to have a sense of agency before I left to go do the movie. And what better place than working in a strip club where it's eat or be eaten?
Yeah.
I didn't want to look like an actor trying to dance. I didn't want to look like a dancer trying to strip. I wanted to look like this person in the given circumstances who works at a restaurant and also dances.
Yeah,
she's so good.
Yeah, the stripping stuff's actually
she's amazing.
Very good.
Everything she does is amazing.
Yeah.
Throughout she's like.
Did they both do their own dancing then in the movie? Did they do their own stripping in the movie? And we say stripping because like you don't really see them strip technically. It's just they do a lot of pole work and that's.
There's not a lot of nudity.
There's not really a lot of nudity.
This
is where the balance. There's no female nudity. No, and there's also like I don't know if anyone's aware. Like there's certain laws and rules that are state dependent as well, depending on.
It's not necessarily state either. I think it's city
like
by
county
city
and city by city. Okay,
yeah, because there's some places in South Florida where you could do full nude,
and there's other places where you can't even show your nipples.
Correct.
Basically,
yeah.
So
yeah, in Orlando you can't go full nude.
Okay,
and I get in Tampa as well. So.
Yeah, because that back in Scotland that's not the case. I think full nude was always relegated to like private shows and stuff like that. At least in the strip clubs that I saw in like Edinburgh and stuff that I didn't go to or pay any money to.
So the real Zola wanted the film to retain the spirit of the original story, and she said that there's like already a lot of misrepresentation when it comes to sex work. It's either a bit too glamorized or a bit too dehumanized. Yeah. So I think that keeping it accurate to my actual experience was the most necessary thing.
Yeah, I think what's nice about it, and I say nice, it's weird, but I think what's nice, at least accurate about it, is that sex work is work. Like you're there to work. So there is that aspect about it where there's a fun element like you would have if you were at work, but you are there to make money. Like that is primarily the main focus there. And it's, it feels relatively quite devoid of any emotion, which I kind of feel like it needs to have. But at least I at least got that feeling that it's that it's like this is work. Like we're here to work.
When they first get, I'm kind of gonna jump into the film now, I think.
Yeah.
But when they first get to the club in Tampa,
yeah,
and the music comes on, she's cleaning the pole, she's looking around, and she starts dancing, and then you just have that moment where she is kind of on the ground, she's in a split, and she's looking around, and you just hear glasses, you hear murmuring, you just see these like dudes, and she's just looking around, like she's just working, but then you can see how bleak it is.
I think the thing was that she's traveled all this way to go make money stripping, and the place is fucking dead.
Yeah,
like there's not going to be, because there's in the clubs that she was working, she was getting showered with cash and stuff. Like it was slightly different. So here it's kind of like, oh, I'm taking this greasy 20 note from the guy in the front, and he's got like a dirty white T-shirt on. Yeah. Like it's not what she felt like she was promised.
Oh, certainly not.
So no. I think, no. Yeah.
I really like this moment. I don't know if it stood out to you as much as it did to me, maybe. But when they're in the rest stop, when they're on their way to Tampa, and they're in the restroom.
Yeah.
And you just see the difference between the two of them. Like Zola's not sitting on the toilet seat.
She's hovering above it.
And it's Stephanie, right? And
Stephanie,
she's sitting on the toilet seat, which I'm like, I wipe the toilet seat,
Yeah, we didn't see her wipe the toilet seat. Also, there's a big difference in the color of their pee.
Yes, exactly.
That? Yeah, so like one's slightly more dehydrated than the other.
Yes, exactly. Bravo said that it's meant to tell you everything there is to know about both of these women before they got here, after they leave here, how they engage with hygiene, what's coming out of their body, and it tells you that whole story.
Yeah.
That's what she said. I'm like, pretty much.
As we find out from Riley Keough's character, as we kind of move closer and closer into the movie, she's slightly more... She's a prostitute. She has a pimp.
I don't know. I don't know if you would call.
She's having sex for money. I mean, she's prostituting.
I think that's the thing that you can jump in and out of, though. You know, it's not like I wouldn't call her a prostitute because she's not in the street. You know, she's just doing.
I mean, I don't know if there's any nicer way to put it. Like, she's either a prostitute or she's a hooker, or because she has a pimp. He's definitely a pimp.
Yeah.
So, like, is she an escort? Is like she's
I don't know
like doing
if you need to define it into a word like that. I mean, she does. She occasionally has sex for money. I don't think that's something she does all the time.
Okay, well, I was trying to like come up with a term that described her like line of work, and I think either one of those is perfectly valid.
They had a different way of explaining it. You know, when they meet, X, it's like he takes care of me. Like, okay, that's the way of saying, and I don't know.
I mean, that's but like that whole culture, like that whole thing is all based around like don't say what it actually is because like it's against the law. Right. Like that's always been the way that it's been. I mean, that's like fucking. I mean, that's what they say in Taxi Driver. But that's child prostitution. That's slightly different. It's kind of gross, where like Harvey Keitel's got that one long fingernail for like sniffing coke, and he's just referred to as like her special friend, all this sort of thing. Ew. So it's really fucked up and horrible.
So there's also a moment when they're in the Tampa club and they're in the dressing room, kind of like the backstage area, and I noticed a moment where there's a woman and she's got a veggie platter and she's pouring ranch into a bowl.
Yep.
With a veggie platter, and I laughed so hard, and I had to text a friend who's danced before, and I asked her, when you were working backstage, did anyone ever bring a veggie platter like into work?
Okay.
And she goes, we never got food. No celery sticks for the ladies.
Oh dear.
So maybe that was just a nicer club than the ones that she had worked at where you got a veggie platter.
Maybe. She was like a nice old lady, though, who was kind of going around and like making sure that they were, they were fed and probably hydrated and stuff.
I don't know if that exists in certain clubs.
It's an interesting thing. That's why the film is only 99.9% accurate to it's the reality of it all.
0.1%. That's the veggie platter. It's false.
The veggie platter is the added little flourish that didn't need to be there. So,
I liked it.
But it's again like a veggie platter. Doesn't need to be at the party, but it's appreciated if it's at the party.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You would miss it if it wasn't there. But if you don't have any carrots, that's okay. You don't have to have any carrots. But, it'd be nice. It'd be nice to have something other than just like a meat or like a cracker, maybe a little bit of cheese. Like sometimes you want the watery, crunchy texture of a carrot, dipping it into some ranch, to kind of change things up a little bit.
Let's get a veggie platter.
Just for dinner?
Right now, yeah.
Yeah, well, I remember that time we met your father, and he brought that meat platter that he got, and he's like, "Who's hungry?"
Half frozen in the hotel fridge. He's like, "Would you like this? I'll defrost these slices of meat."
It was fucking defrosting. He's like, "I think the fridge is up too high."
Yeah, no shit. The crackers are all soggy.
It was, that's probably one of the saddest meals I think I've ever had in my life. To the point where I think we took it from him and we binned it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's not for me anyway.
No, it was literally only for me, and that would have felt like the saddest moment of my life.
Men love a meat platter. Okay, continue. Continue. You could jump into the dick scene if you want.
Yes, we should.
Okay.
We are here.
Okay. Well, there's two pretty close together in the same room.
Pretty much.
It's at the point where Zola figures out that it's not completely a ruse, but she's definitely been misled.
She's definitely been misled to the point where I'm like, is she here? Because there's an insinuation as well as that she's not been the first.
Yes.
But there's also this idea where it's like, well, if she's a stripper, maybe she'll want to make the extra money, i.e. start having sex with folk.
Yeah.
I think that's what that is. And it's weird because they're like, oh, they don't let her go home. and she's kind of just stuck around, and she's
well, yeah, because Coleman Domingo's character, he's like, I know where you live. That's the moment where they were in the car, and then his accent changes. And she's like, what is going on? She's like, I want to leave. I'm not going to have sex with people. I did what I came here to do. Like, I'm ready to go. And he's like, bitch, I know where you live.
He pulls a I'm the captain now moment, basically. Like, it is interesting. And also, like, Zola is portrayed, she's a very strong, independent, female character.
Yeah, incredibly intelligent.
Oh, fuck yeah.
She's not going to take shit. Well, she'll take shit up to the point where she will avoid getting hurt.
Yeah, she will not be fucked with, I mean, for the most part. Which is, I think, it's incredibly endearing.
Self-preservation.
Like, fuck yeah. I think you kind of have to be, though, because you are working in strip clubs where, bad shit can happen to you. You're going to be dealing with rough people for the most part. Desperate boners, so...
So she's basically in the nice hotel, being her doorman, watcher person.
I guess kind of like her minder.
Yeah, making sure nothing goes wrong.
Yeah, but like she's been part of this. Like she's been inadvertently brought into this ruse where there's like her picture was put up online with her, so men were like wanting to have sex with either one, because to the point where it's just like, obviously Riley Keough is white and Taylor is black. There is some like backhanded like racism that finds its way into the film as well once these clients start to come in.
That leads us in perfectly. So it's about 35 minutes 25 seconds.
Yeah.
35 minutes 20 seconds. So it's Stephanie's first customer, right?
Oh, this motherfucker. This guy. Yeah, like he came in not riding a Harley, but a bike of equal size and probably worse gas mileage. Like he is, he's a big racist fuck as well when he comes in. So he probably is a biker. He's got the long scraggy hair and he looks like he's straight out of the Devil's Rejects, yeah.
Yeah. The first thing he says, he looks at Zola and he goes, I ordered a white chick. And she's like, God damn it.
Why don't you get your fucking ass in here? I'm not gonna have sex with you anyway, so that's not the point.
Yeah. Stephanie's wearing like a schoolgirl outfit and he brought her something and I don't know I couldn't tell what it was. Could you see what it was?
No.
It's like a little box of something.
Unless like he wanted her to wear something or whatever.
Maybe.
I do like that moment where they're in the bathroom and Stephanie's like, how do I look? And she's, do you like what I'm wearing? And she's like, no. It's like such like basic bitch like fantasy stuff. It's like, oh my god, you're a schoolgirl. It's like that's like the sort of men that she's dealing with are like on that kind of level.
How old are you? Old enough.
It's like eye rolling stuff. Like it's wild.
Yeah. As they're gonna have sex, because that's the deal, he starts taking his clothes off and he leaves his socks on.
I love that.
Ew. And then,
I mean, if you're having sex in Scotland, I mean, it's good to leave your socks on.
It's chilly.
Yeah, because it's cold. What, you're gonna bust a nut and then you're gonna have to walk to the bathroom or something? That floor is gonna be chilly.
You can get slippers by the side of the bed.
Of course you could, but then it's like sometimes you got to get there quickly.
Okay.
I guess.
Thanks for the notes.
Ain't that right, fellas?
Then Zola says this amazing line that she says more than once. They start fucking. It was gross.
It's great. It's like my favorite line in the entire movie. And it's like a recurring joke. I fucking love it.
Fucking, it was gross.
Because they start, like, they were fucking. And, like, because he's taking all these clothes off and it's all mostly seen in the wide. And Zola's in the corner, kind of like the Blair Witch. She's, like, not seeing, like, not looking at what's going on. But because it's all in a wide and the cuts to the reverse, which is also a wide, but they're in the foreground, like masking frame, so you can kind of see their well, his naked frame, and then obviously Stephanie's like near to naked frame.
But again, I love that, and I just realized it. Like, there's no boobs, and Riley Keough's taken her clothes off and a bunch of stuff before, but she's like, it's weird. Like, it's kind of cool. This is one of the few movies where I don't get naked.
There's no need for it, I don't think. Also, it's
just funny for the type of movie that it is. Like, I love it.
For a film that's about...
You don't miss it. You don't think about it.
For a film that's about strippers, like, they're actually... I mean, I don't know. Taylor looks amazing.
Yeah.
Because, like, she wears some relatively quite skimpy clothing, like, all the way through the course of it. Like, she looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
And for the most part, like, you don't need the nudity in order to sex it up anymore, I don't think. Certainly not from the female perspective, because, again, like, you know, the intimation, like, the attraction element, like, you know, like, it is obviously the sexiness kind of goes off the scale when it's like that. But in this regard, because we see everything in a wide, I just don't, like, part of me is like, how, like, this sex scene, and it's not really a sex scene, really. It's kind of just like the beginnings of it, because you don't see the sex that much. But, like, does it feel dirty? Does it feel kind of like gross? It kind of does a little bit.
I don't think that the act of it, I don't think that it is gross, but I just think because it's the dude's kind of gross.
I think, like, what it's trying to do, because we're gonna go into the next dick scene, which is kind of more like a dick explosion.
Ew.
It's kind of like, I guess, like, what it's trying to do is they're trying to juxtapose this quality of client with the quality of the clients that follow afterwards, when Zola steps in and effectively, like, tries to completely I guess, like,
she helps her marketing.
Yeah, it changes our marketing up a little bit so that she can offer like $500 to like $1,000 for a session instead of the $150 that obviously X has put on her.
Yeah.
Where really she's going to get a quality of person that's maybe not the best. But yeah, I think that's at least, like, that was my feeling on it.
Yeah,
I do think it was. Yeah, I do think it's kind of just like you're really looking at it from Zola's perspective. Really, I mean, you're looking at it and you're just kind of like, yeah, it's kind of gross. Like, it's not particularly sexy. It's like you watch the mechanics, because I always like that. I like that whenever you're watching, you know, the act of people trying to have sex, or the act of people preparing to have sex, it's the mechanics of taking your clothes off and getting in the position and getting yourself aroused, and then it's like, are you ready? I mean,
the lights are on, like, it's a big wide room, very bright, you know, and
gone are the days of, like, the 80s sex scene.
Well, that is not, that would not be appropriate here anyway, because that is not the point.
Because no one's in love.
Because, like you were saying, it's a job. She's working.
We are making money. Yeah, we are making fat stacks of cash on this ass. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's like right after that, you know, that wide, you know, you see the first trick's penis.
Yes.
Penis.
So that's why you say it
like you
that.
were saying, that Zola kind of helps Stephanie with her sex marketing. So she's like, I think I started off the podcast with that, you know.
Pussy is worth thousands, bitch.
Yeah, absolutely.
They do. Yeah, they call each other bitch a lot.
Yes, bitch.
Which is fine. Yeah. But yeah, she has a point. You know,
because
the thing is, it's kind of like, if you're freelancing in any profession, like, if your rates are high enough, like, you will garner the respect that you deserve if your rates are according to what you provide. And for her, she's providing a quality experience, I guess.
You would hope.
That's worth far more than what she was currently marketing herself as.
Yeah. So the next scene is our penis montage. Gotta love Gotta love a penis montage at 41 minutes, 51 seconds is when it starts.
Yeah.
So this is after Zola remarkets her on Backpage, $500 a pop. The boys start coming in, and you get kind of a very interesting kind of montage of all of these guys.
I would say it's a
undressing.
slew of weird Florida men.
Weird Florida penises.
Yes.
But here, I don't want to say weird Florida penises. I know there are some that are very interesting.
That's why I said men. There's one that's very shocking.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like you're given I guess like a cross section of Florida men who would frequent a prostitute for that amount of money. So you're kind of got your older men and, like maybe people who are slightly, maybe emotionally detached and they have trouble talking to women, but they still want to get laid. Like all this sort of thing. Like it feels like you're given a much broader sense of all these people, and it's quite a lot of folk. It's like maybe 8 to 10 different people that we see over the course of it.
Yeah.
And the sequence itself, and I guess I'll try and like truncate it as best I can. It's kind of like a picture-in-picture with a bunch of wipes of each person running through the same set of actions, the same set of positions, and the same outcome, but we intercut into it over the course of this period so that you see a bunch of people at the start, you see a bunch of other people in the middle, you see a bunch of people near the end, so that it's never repeating. So it's never the same person twice, but you see a beginning, a middle, and an end for the entire sequence.
Yeah.
It's all wipes and
of just them basically undressing.
Basically them undressing. And then obviously,
getting pulled out.
Belts getting pulled out.
Penis is getting pulled out.
Penis is getting pulled out. People having sex. And then obviously climaxing. So, but you never feel at any point like it feels like it's backtracking or going back to, another part of the process of actions and things. It's like it's a seamless moment, basically.
I just want to applaud it for showing different penises.
They are all 100% real and all 100% original.
Yeah. Thank you for putting different penises out into the world.
Yeah.
Because it's important, which I'm not going to get into a rant about it, but I don't like prosthetics because it just sets up unrealistic expectations for everybody.
And I guess the best way to put it, like they're all different shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
And you're kind of just
they're
like...
human penises.
They're very...
Who'd have thunk?
It's incredibly human. I mean, there is the one that's obviously very shocking. Kind of looks like he either stuck his dick in a fucking beehive, maybe.
There's
and
one
it's
where
kind of
his
very incredibly
testicles
bulbous.
are gigantic,
Oh,
but then
God.
his penis is like on the side.
Yeah.
Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like elephantitis. It looks like it's a problem. Yeah, it looks like it has a problem. Like he has to go get something sorted
it's just
out.
like the way that the penis isn't in the front. It's like on the side. Like it's very interesting.
It's just like it's just like a, like a wrecking ball, like clashing against her. But
Sorry,
I think
we don't mean to
we never comment on certain
comment on
things. It's just like you'll see that moment, you'll be like, whoa, geez.
But it's good. Like, it's important and it's interesting, and I love it.
It's incredibly truthful because I feel like we. Not that you're spoiled, but certainly you're always second guessing, and certainly like characters and things, certainly certain characters in movies and stuff like that, like there's an expectation that if you're going to see some dick, you're going to see something that's quite, let's say, for want of a better word, like prominent
or pretty.
Prominent or like very photogenic.
It's kind of what happened with like Barry Keoghan, right? In Saltburn, where like, oh, I'm glad you have a nice looking penis.
Yeah, because then people would comment on it.
Yeah.
And there'd be probably negative energy around it. And it's kind of like, at least with this, these are very normal people in effectively, very truthful sort of situation. Like if you're going to have sex with someone who's offering their services for money, you're going to get a slew of people regardless of, you're going to go through with that process regardless of what they've got going on downstairs,
right.
Because
that's a job.
Yeah, because it's the job. And the reality of the situation is that you'd see a whole slew of different people doing, with very different looks and things. So, it's not manufactured to make sure that it's the most appealing and it's the most easy to digest. I think that's the kind of, what's that show back home? It was like Naked Attraction.
Yeah.
It's kind of very similar to that, where, it's not just dudes that are obviously showing off their bits and bobs, but also, women. But then you're kind of seeing a very wide spectrum of people who are really kind of putting themselves out there. And there's, everyone's beautiful in their own way. So, you're not dealing with people who probably fit into the mainstream expectations of beauty.
Yes, and I think that needs to be showcased more often.
I think it's getting better. I think because of...
I don't know.
I think because of social media in certain ways, people of very different shapes and sizes and traits, they have a platform to show that off. Now, does that mean they'll be safe from negativity? Probably not. But there will be an audience for them that does appreciate that.
I'm glad that these people who work in prosthetics, in film, in special effects, in makeup and design are working. Good for you for having a job.
Yeah, but I'd rather they
just
weren't,
work on making cool creatures and practical effects.
Yeah, I'm not interested in seeing rubber dicks and stuff.
So weird.
Yeah, I'm not really that interested in it at all.
No. Yeah, but so in the course of that scene, I did some math because I'm like, if she's doing each dude at $500 a pop, she made $8,000 that night.
Yeah.
She only had to have sex with 16 people.
I mean, that's a lot over the course of a night, though. You know what I mean? Every 15 minutes. I remember seeing, because there's things like, STDs and STIs, as long as you keep them safe, all that sort of thing. Again, condoms aren't 100% effective either.
Didn't she yell, you better wear a condom to her in the movie?
Yeah. I mean, I'd be like, well, yeah, you probably should. Yeah. I mean, that's fucking, it's 101. I mean, I don't know. Stephanie's not, the sharpest tool in the box either.
No.
But at the same time, I don't know what it was, but I must have seen a documentary on porn or something that followed young ladies who were just entering the industry and stuff like that. Where one of them, their vagina blew up like a balloon because she'd had too much sex.
Oh dear.
And it looked horrific. So yeah, that would be something I would be concerned about if I was doing that.
That would be like a blowout night. You wouldn't do that every night. You got to rest.
Yeah,
that would suck.
Have a little, put it on ice, No,
you probably, you would have to.
Yeah, you put it on ice like a boxer.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I wrote about, because I was interested in Riley Keough's accent. Right?
Okay.
So she had to get special training on how to play a white woman, trying very offensively to sound a certain type of black.
Oh, fuck.
Okay. So they hired...
That's spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely spot on.
It's meant to make you uncomfortable.
I've seen videos of white girls who sing like black ladies. And it's fucking weird.
Yeah,
it doesn't make
any
sense.
Cool.
It's not cool. It's just that doesn't belong to you. That has nothing to do with you. Because that's white people in general. They have no culture. They just appropriate other people's culture.
Yeah, we're terrible.
Yeah, awful people.
I hate us.
We're awful.
So they hired a voice coach. Her name was Eris Mendoza, who is a mixed woman. So she's half black. And so they would work on the voice and send Bravo the tapes. So halfway through the process, Bravo called Riley Keough and goes, "You're holding back. The best version of this is the one where you totally let go and you just get offensive." Good. Okay. So that's what they stuck with.
Good.
So, I don't know. Well, I'll say it anyway. So the movie ends with X, they basically leave. Scot-free after everything that happened. But I guess the guy who X is based off of in real life was arrested shortly after the experience.
I mean, yeah, anyone who sees the movie, you wouldn't be surprised if
Shot
that was the
someone in
case.
the neck.
Holy Mother of Christ, yeah.
Oh, he's so good in that movie.
He's really good, yeah. There's a real...
He's great in everything.
Yeah, but there's a real slew of, like, weird Florida stuff. Like, there's a midget on a lounger, and he's like, have a good day. Like, the only issue I have with the movie is that ending, though, where I didn't like the fact that Zola, for the purposes of, like, X getting them out of that situation, had to get, like, molested in order for them to be able to escape. That was my main issue with it. If that didn't happen...
She didn't like it either.
I know, but I was like, really? And I was like, okay, if that happened in the story, that's all right. But I was like, really? Like, after everything that's happened, and there's this, I'm like...
The perp got shot, though.
He did. Like, he got his comeuppance, but X is a real bad dude.
Yeah.
Like, he's a fucking piece of shit. So, I'm just kind of... And he's, like, playing into the situation, and it's like, he doesn't give a fuck about Zola.
No.
Like, he's just kind of wanting to save himself and make sure that he gets he gets Stephanie out of there because, that's his moneymaker. And I was just like, yeah, it just wasn't really... that was my one thing that I was just like, I don't know. This is what kind of brought the film down for me, in my opinion. Because the last shot of her is her fucking crying in the back of the car. And I'm like, fuck.
I was reading the Twitter feed again. And so when they were going to go back out again to do like more sex work, right? And the boyfriend hears about it. Apparently he was like, what the fuck? Again, bitch, no. And then he starts punching himself. And Zola's like, oh God, hell no. And he goes, if you do this again, Jess, I will kill myself. I love you too much. And she goes, he's lost in the sauce and his bitch is lost in the game.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So good. All right. You want to go first? Who cares?
I guess it doesn't really matter.
Go ahead. Let's do the reviews. I should have prefaced that.
Yeah.
Let's review it. So, visibility and context for both of the scenes, and I'll kind of take them all as one. So, for visibility, I mean, it has to be 5 stars, right? I agree.
And obviously the context is also 5 stars because it's all within this moment. And the thing is like, there's a real difference, a juxtaposition between the two moments as well, where it's like, I kind of feel like you're meant to feel a little bit icky by that first time, but then it kind of feels quite freeing and like liberating when we get to that montage sequence, basically. So yeah, I gave it 5 stars all the way through for the visibility and context. Now, for the film itself, it's probably not as glowing as that. I gave it 3.5. I think the film's really good. My main issue is that there are parts of it that are slow and it's only 86 minutes, and also that ending, I'm like, it just leaves a real kind of sour taste in my mouth. And obviously, if that's the case with the actual story, that's fine, that's okay. I wish that if they're going to take liberties with certain things, I'm not expecting the filmmakers to make me feel better at the end of a film like that. But I feel like there's a slant you can take on it so that you don't come out of it feeling like total horseshit. Like you've completely destroyed your titular character by the end of it. And I kind of just didn't really like that. So I did give the film 3.5. But there's some fucking comedy shit in this that is very much worth watching. Even they say they start fucking and it was gross. Like it's easily like one of the funniest parts of the entire movie.
So I'm with you. 5 stars, visibility, context, because everything I already said.
Of course,
you get a different range of nudity and
a petri dish. Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah.
But I do like when they start getting into that process when, you know, it's a man after man after man, and you see Zola clean the bed, you see Stephanie brushing her hair, like cleaning up, and then it's just another one, another one, another one. Like they get into a routine about it. And I kind of liked that. It's like she started getting into it in a way of like being the penis concierge, you know? And I thought that was really great.
Yeah.
And for the film, because I'd seen it before, I originally gave it 3.5, and then when I watched it last night, I gave it a 4. I really liked it. It's very fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know, it's easy, it's short, thank goodness, and
it's incredibly respectful of your
time. It's so good. I don't know. It's totally worth watching. It's wonderful, super fun.
Yeah, catch it if you can. On Tubi.
On Tubi.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thanks for watching Zola. I'm glad that you finally watched it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I'm glad that I do that.
Cool. Coming to you from the Royal Palm Hotel.
Fuck yeah, I thought that was what you were going to say because I wrote it down too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Can't wait to go to Tampa again. We can do the Zola tour.
We can meet someone with their dirty ass. Clean your butt.
Clean your butt.
Clean your butt.
I do like when he's crying at the end, though. I liked it a lot. Because when he jumps off the balcony, he doesn't jump like it's only a 1 story up.
Yeah.
And so you're like, he's not going to die.
Over. Yeah, he's not going to die. Just
but
hurt
also
himself.
He ends up on the other side of the pool, which I'm like, okay, you wouldn't have jumped like 15 feet across horizontally to get on the other side of the pool, but it's okay.
Either way.
I liked it. He's just crying, bloody. Yeah, I would have been over it and destroyed too. So anyway, thanks for that. And
cool.
We'll see you next time.
We will. Who are you going to be tonight, Zola?
Hooters girl.